So, Halloween is coming up, and this year, Jazz got really into spectating League of Legends, and she really wanted the costume Bittersweet Lulu because we got the cupcake from PAX, and she was really interested in it. She got my sister to sew her costume. My sister went out to get the fabric, got a pattern that kind of matched, and she did a really good job with it. And we were working on the candy cane staff, the wand kind of thing. We went to a thrift store and we got just like an old man's cane with a little hook on it. I went to my dad's little workshopy area. We stripped the lacquer off, painted it white, and then just yesterday, I think, or the day before, we went out to buy some purple duct tape, painter's tape, or electrical tape. We ended up finding some duct tape. We had to kind of cut it in half through the width, and then Jasmine just taped it around. I was doing the dishes while she was taping it, and she kept going like, "So how does this look?" And I would glance over, and I'm like, "Wow, it looks really good. It looks just like a candy cane." She's like, "Okay, that's good." And so she finished wrapping it and doing the little blue, so it looks like a nice purple color flavored, purple flavored candy cane. And then today, I took a look at the candy cane while she was at work, and I looked at it very closely, like really closely, and I'm like, oh, you know, there's a little bit of a crinkle of the tape near the top of the hook where it bends, because it's a little hard to get the tape to be smooth in that area. And you can kind of see a little bit of like a waviness where she cut the tape in half so that it wouldn't be a super thick stripe that's going up all the way around. And I kind of realized that no one is going to care. No one is really gonna look that closely at it, and in the end, that's gonna be fine. And it reminded me a little bit of when we took our wedding photos, like 4 or 5 years ago now. And we took some wedding photos, and the photographer guys, they rented or they lent us this nice like white tux. I think it was a white tux or a gray tux. I can't remember the color of the tux, but it was really frayed. I looked at it, I'm like, this is kind of dingy thing. Like, obviously they've used it a lot of times and stuff like that. And the photographers were just like, oh, don't worry, it's not going to show up in the photo. It's going to look fine. And I'm like, all right, if you say so. You know, it's your ass if it doesn't, right? I was okay with it as long as whatever. And we took the photos and stuff, and sure enough, when the photos came up, like, of course there was some like touch-up done afterwards and stuff like that, but sure enough, you know, you really can't see the details, and anybody who's looking at the photos, they're not going to be looking super close at your clothing. We're not talking about like HD television close-ups on things, that kind of stuff, but it looked fine. And I was just thinking about that today, and I realized that a lot of times we look at ourselves in the mirror, we look at ourselves in our mind, and we see all the flaws. We look really closely and you go, you know, there's that pimple scar over here, there's this hair tuft that kind of grows up funny, you know, you got this weird dot on your next to your eyeball, or even if your eyelids are not even, or what have you. And these are the kind of things that bugs you, makes you hate yourself, you know, the things that you really hate about your personality or about your appearance. I'm focusing mostly on appearance, but we could also talk about personality. You know, you're like, oh, I didn't like my attitude in this regard, or I feel like I'm such a loser because of this, or I don't like my laugh. You know, anything that you don't like about yourself. These are kind of the details about yourself that you don't like about yourself, and ultimately, you're the only one who cares about these kind of stuff. People don't usually, you know, there are some assholes out there, but people don't usually judge you based on the specific details, here, this, or that. Instead, they look at you as a whole person. And this happens all the time. And when I look at a person, I see the whole person. You know, if I look at a certain person, you know, that person's a very attractive person, but they would be like, oh no, look at me, I got my acne going on, I got glasses, and it's like, I'm like, no, you know what, you look fine, you look great, you are a good person, you should feel good about yourself. And it's interesting because this is the kind of seeing yourself as the way other people sees you that people don't really think about, you know, like people, when they say seeing yourself the way others sees you, they usually mean seeing your flaws, kind of, right? So that it's a kind of a counter big-headism, like, so that you're not so egocentric. You know, see yourself as other people sees you, kind of stuff like that, plain and simple. But it kind of goes both ways as well. Some people can be big-headed, they feel overconfident or cocky, but at the same time, some people can be overly critical, right? Everybody usually is their own worst critic. And it's nice sometimes to be able to see yourself as a whole person, as a gestalt picture, a holistic thing. Sometimes you just stand back and go, hey, I look pretty good today. I look fine. Everything about me is passable. It's fine. It's perfect. It's good. Don't worry about the small stuff. Don't sweat it. So I say to you guys are perfect the way you are. Don't worry about it too much. Take care of yourselves and be happy with what you got. Thanks for listening once again, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.